Welcome back to another video from Winter Forest. Today I'm going to talk about React authentication and authorization. We're going to use a practice example. I will start from an empty photo to create a React app, spin up a React app, then add the React load to build this React authentication management. The idea is like this in my previous projects, also current projects where I was working on. So imagine you get into a project, somebody already built the feature, and in this feature they already have a different routing and point to different functionality. So you come in, get a task, you need to stop a certain account customer, or maybe you user to access some node. For example, you have some setting configure only allow the admin to access some node you need to protect from the public access, or in one page they have some part of the page you going to gather then only allowed the admin user or particular user to use this. Then this is the tutorial for them. And the technique are going to use from the are going to build a React authentication context. So basically I'm going to build a context, then wrap the existing app. So nothing going to affect the existing application. So going to have a context, then I create a consumer to consume the data from my authentication context. So we're going to start write the code, then go through it. If you don't understand, you also could go here, read the code, find the idea. I believe most people see how the code working instead of just read the text. So let's start it. First, I'm going to start use npx create React app, and then I will put in the folder called React author. So what this code going to, the npx is the latest npm command provider. So this will go to grab the create a React app, this React team provided command. You could use this one to start a React app and put in the new empty folder, going to new folder called React authentication. So just start it. This is going to take a little bit of time because it's going to install this library, also going to install the library related package for you. I suggest don't install the create React app in your local. If you installed a year ago, then a year later you still use a year ago you installed the create React app start application. For use npx, it's going to use the latest create React app command to start the React app application. So it's all over the library, and the command line will be the latest one. Look like quite fast, so already done. So the folder going to create it. So what are they going to? They provide 1, 2, 3, 4 and scripts for you. Normally don't do yarn eject because it cannot revert back. So you like these scripts managed by Facebook instead of by yourself. So they have an npm start. Just start your dev environment. First I will go into this folder. So all of the app and related inside this one. Then in here I could just simply use yarn star. When I started, it only have one app over there. In the app components, just the Facebook logo, React components logo, just spin in the middle over there. I'm going to delete everything and add one package. So I'm going to delete everything and one package. Just use Ctrl+C in your window if you are in MacBook. So I'm in this library. I'm going to use VS Code. In this application, I require one more library. It's called React Load Down. So I simply just run npm install React Load Down. Since I don't need everything in here, I could simply delete, you see. Just import the projects. And in here, won't going to use any React thing. In here, just simply have a library, have the load over there. Since this is started, I'm going to have a page, have a home page, and a admin page. Also have a detail page. Inside the detail page, have some partial of the data only allowed admin to use, or certain amount of person have permission to use. So I'm going to create this code, and let's start it. For the page, I'm going to put inside the new folder called view. So this is going to relate to the law, and I'm going to have another folder called components. This is going to be reusable components. The view are going to have a few view. I won't have any CSS marking. So this is pure just routing guard and authentication things. So I have admin view, only allowed the admin to see, and I have a home view, only allowed the home, allow the public access. Then I have the detail views. The details view, sorry. The details view are going to have some code is allowed, only hide guard some for some particular user. Then have the login view. So everything allowed allowed in the page level are put in the view. In every application, I all have this help function. Have called utils, and I'm going to have a few utils and have the request. In every project, I have this one. Just copy the code, put over there. So basically, in create a React app, the fetch is by default group available. But if you use the fetch, you need to use 2 times .then get .then, because the first time is the response. You need a .json to get the data. This is my helper method. So I'm going to, and if I check the status, if the status it is in here, means it have a body, have a response. So just pass the response, otherwise it's exception error. And then this every project I will have this helper, so I could direct use fetch. So when this return, it is the data instead of promise. It is still a promise, but when I await return data, I don't need to do 2 times in here. So I put 2 paths just in here. Also, I'm going to have a configure folder. The configure folder normally for you configure file. In these applications, I need to do authentication. I'm going to have the URL .js. So I definitely need a I need to go outside the vault, go to, because everything it is HTTP. And In a real project, you will go to the real authentication. In my case, this demo showcase I just use try catch. So you're going to fail because this endpoint don't exist. But I will mock in the fail method it have somebody have admin right. So you could see the difference between home and the detail and the admin. Once I have the page, so go back to the app since this React router is installed finished. So we're going to use it in my application. I go into in here, I have the browser load. Inside the browser load in the head, have a navigation. I'm going to build my navigation. I could just simply put it in here, or just put a components called navigation. I'll build a navigation in the components. I'll copy paste some code over there. So this is just a simple navigation. I'm going to read the link. It is from React router down. Then in the app, I need to input this one. Then start your I put some code over there. In normal application, I don't think you have this private route, but this is provided. So if you come in, are going to build this private route, this is what I'm going to coach you. And then you're going to, for the admin, are going to the admin. For the details, you only allow the admin. Also, you could allow maybe somebody is super user, like a super or VIP user. You could allow them access, then they could access over there. For the demo purpose, just simply say a person if have admin right, then could access this detail view. Also this admin view, it is what I put in the view. So I need to input this admin view, detail view, and the login view. How about just also need a detail view. I change this back to router. Then I haven't created it. When I create it, I show you how you could do it. So basically, you can here if you're going to log in, you go into the login view, haven't input the login view. Have a login view, have the home view, haven't input the home view. So this is the basic login setting. So if you have a login, just go into login. I haven't built this authentication yet. So if you go into login, if you go into the root, go to here. If go every else, just go into the home page, just the home page. Now go into just so this is the admin. This is the detail view, details page, and this is your home page, and this is your login page. You could let me see if I'm missing anything. So start here, have the navigation. Now I don't need a link in here because the link already put inside the navigation. Now we started. At the moment, we just set up our application. Sorry, this is missing. I don't think they have details. They call the details. So you go into here, you have a by default the root is home, and then you go into admin and the detail. But at the moment, imagine this is already built. You have a bunch of over there, and you coming in. Your task is going to protect this admin and the detail. Only allow the person have a permission go into this one to do. Even inside the detail, need also like guard them. So let's start it. So I'm going to stop it. So the router setup is finished. What I'm going to do, like I said, I'm going to have somebody wrap this in. I won't going to change it. If for this one is a React Redux application, I won't change the Redux because authentication is supposed to don't put in Redux store. Redux store is a JavaScript file, so it's actually visible. Normally, it's suggestion put in local storage, but I'm going to encapsulate everything in my authentication management. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to wrap this one. I'm going to build authentication. I'm going to build authentication management and encapsulate all of them, and I'm going to change. You see, this is supposed to protect, so I'm going to here have my private route, and this private route need to have a permission, isn't? So you're going to person have a permission is admin, because a person could have a bunch of permission. Have an admin permission, or what kind of permission could see this one? This is just use admin permission. So only a person have admin permission can see this one. And for the load, the login is allow the authentication. Then you're going to go the login. Everybody go into here. If they are not authenticated, this private route will stop, then go into here, will point then to the login. Now our task is going to build this authentication management. Okay, authentication management suppose is reusable. So I'm going to put this one in these components called new folder called authentication. Then I have this authentication file. This file we are going to, what I showed you, use the React context. So inside this folder, I'm going to create a context, and I'm going to create all the private route via wrap this consumer. So what the technique you going to be here? So what is in here? So a React data subscribe to context change. So the consumer can subscribe to the context change, and this let you subscribe the context, how you build a context here already said. I use this as example. So you're going to create a context, then you could consume it. Let's start the code via the will make sense for you. First, I need a React and create a context to create my context. The first context, I just call it authentication context. They have by default authentication is false. Actually, suppose also have a token. By default, it will be null. Then this one, you see, in here are going to create this one, export it out to here use. This is my management, and this one is going to extend the React components. And in the constructor are going to, by default, they have the state it is matching in here. And you're going to return. Class components you use render, so you're going to render this context, you see, and you provide this one. I also provide the authentication in here, pass along with them. Why? Because in here, did you see in the app, the private route suppose check this one has permission or not. If it has permission, direct go here. If it don't has permission, it will call direct to call the login, push them to authenticate it. So just I'm going to create this authentication, and this authentication I just copy and paste the code over there. Actually, this authentication for the demo showcase I put in here. It suppose you have a service called authenticator. If this already authenticator, so the second time you don't need to call it again, because I'm also going to input my URL from my auth URL in here. You see, this request and this URL are going to input in here. Also, every project actually write this request. So in here, I simply wait could get data. If I use fetch, I get this response. Then I need to wait response.json.data. But this is reduce the headache. Reduce you write 2 times. So input the request. I put in the utils request. So the authentication in this demo showcase, I just put it in here. In real life, you're supposed to have authentication servers. So you're supposed to read from the local storage. You only get once. You get it. You push into the local storage. Then you make a request to authentication. You definitely get a token back. Then after you get the token back, you are via from this token, not the scope. They have what kind of permission. In my situation, that here definitely going to fail because I don't have my backend. I didn't build a backend to hold this authentication. So in here, if it is fair in this situation, I just say, okay, you authentication, and you are just randomly give you any rubbish. Just give you a rubbish and give you permission, right? This one is unpack the permission from the token you give. You will have the scope. You going to I just simple write in here. For this function, suppose in authentication servers, you supposed to put it individually. So you have the token. Then you return permissions. This function trying to find the permission, and the token just put over there. It put in the state in a real scenario. You're supposed to put it in local storage. But this code, the purpose is to show you how to do authentication and provide a private note and the guard you application. And this authentication manager is created, so I need to create a consumer to read this data. So everything it is consumer from here can read this data. And just simple create over there. So this is applications.consumer. So the author, it will land it like author. So this one can read everything this passed in. So from top passed in, once if somebody wrapped this one code, the login will call this one. Then this one will have is authenticated or also authenticate or token and permission. Then by default I give anonymous. Actually already give anonymous, so in here I don't need to give any permission because this already give anonymous, so definitely will be anonymous passed down to here. Then you pass to the chart, and also I read the even inside a person already passed or logged in, there could be different permission. It's not the user, so you're going to also stop them to access. So you're going to get it if the person have a permission and this is allowed or not. You also need so you're going to render the child depend this has this permission. You also use this one. Another thing, for the logged in, I won't going to write any code to it. So I'm going to simply this with the login will provide to the login view. So the login will come in, go to here, then you check is authenticated or check this one. If they are, then you just let they have this thing. Then it actually is in the application level. So you're going to import this one. Authentication. See, the authentication will wrap the login. because this is public accessed. So you're going to wrap this one and make sure the login have this consumer from this data to this login view. See if my data. Yeah, going to the authentication. See if I export out. This export out. This export out. And the authentication management all is yes. Yes. If I could go back, just make sure my path is correct. Also make sure this path is correct. Look like the with the author have an issue. Export with the author. With the author. It is exposed. What this one is fine, this one. The suppose is correct. This I can't go, but this I cannot navigation to go. Maybe this one, sorry. Because this is exactly the same link into here. It actually is this one. This is the photo. So now it is okay. Yeah, the node is smart enough. If you use the authentication it actually, because this the name is same, so it actually also didn't find it. Just found this authentication is over there. Now it is correct. Actually, it's supposed to go to here. Previous is going to the authentication. Now it's correct. And the path is correct. And my private route I haven't created. You see, for the authentication is used in here, but the private route I'm going to create my private route. It's not part of my authentication. It's part of this one. So I'll create another folder called the private route. In my private route, I'm going to use the React route, and also need the author. I just input the author are created in the authentication management. Coming out, then go into authentication. This is the folder, then go into the file. Then I'm going to create this private route. Take a pop. And in the route, they have two things. Sometimes you use the render to render a route. So this is called a render. Is render pop. I just rename the render to render pop. And you also will accept the components. So it basically I pick up the property in here. Sometimes people use the render, so I'll go make sure this also going to render. Then you take the pop, then render. So this is the components. I'm going to accept the components. So I extract the components and name it components. Component. And I also accept the permission. This is say and name it require the permission to access. By default, it is empty array, and then spread the rest of the property in here. And I need the load, so you actually just still need the load, and the rest of the property you still give to the load, and then the render. That is why I need to change the render. So then the render it will be equal to you accept the pops because you will then how about put like this one pops, then you're going to render them. You actually are going to use this order, and you write your logic in here. So basically you will see is authenticated or permissions. This purpose is this also is consumer from the application context. So this one will give you access to this is authentication and the permissions. If it is authenticated, then you need to check it has permission. You do double check. The reason you need to do this one because sometimes even for a person log into this application, if they are just a super user, they only access two navigation bar, maybe another navigation bar, only need the admin to access. So in this situation, you need to check this. Even they have a permission, you need to see they has permission, is the required permission. This is only the route you already defined. If it is has the required permission, then you could render. Then you could render this one. If they have this one, just render this one. If you don't have this one, just render the components. If they don't have the render property, then you just render the components. Otherwise, you're going to say your permission is denied. You actually just need a div and the permission is denied. But it is be nice you have a components. Just instead write CSS in here, you could be changeable because this have a, you could restart then, you could input then, for example, I have an input, I haven't created this one, I'm going to create this in the components folder. So in the permission delete, you have a coming out, you have a new photo, permission delete, then you have a file. This you could custom over there. Go back to private load. If you have a render, then you do the render first. You don't have a render, then you go into the second round, render the components. Put the rest of property in here. And otherwise, if you delete, else, if it's authenticated, if you're not authenticated, then you just you actually don't need this one, don't need else. For any other condition, just return. I need the redirect here, just redirect you to the login page. You change this, and you need to tell them from where, so next time they could come to here. So once you direct to the login finish, then we are could push them back to this load. And then redirect didn't close. The two have this one. After two, yeah, the redirect close. And then it is the authentication close. Yeah. This file closed. Then render. The load didn't close. The load now closed. Not closed. Yeah. So the private load is done. You need to export it. Then could input in here. This is done. Private loader done, has permission. And in the private loader, this function didn't done, so has permission, just you pass in a list of them, and this is the required, you compare, so you need to write a function. We just put in here. So you accept permission and the required permission. see any one of them inside, every one of them is required inside there, you could just return true. So action is quite simple, just return required permission dot sum. So this is the required permission. Any one of them in any one of them, then it is true or false. The sum will return true or false. Yeah. 非法 missing anything? No. All good. Then they log in. The login actually, I won't going to really write a login, so I just simulate the login. So what I going to do, I just copy paste the code, we go through it. I don't think you like. I need if they are logged in, you direct to the referred, otherwise go back to the. It will be unauthenticated. Just copy paste the login view. I simple just export the login in here, so I don't need distracted. So go into the app, I just get rid of these distracted things, and then I go back to my logged in. So what I did, normally you have a pick of a username, a password, then you go call the authentication. But in my situation, I just create this dummy simulator, so you could see this start to the login. So give a 5 milliseconds, you see. You could see the start login. If it is logged in, I say, then I read from the pops. The reason I have this one because in the login, in the app, I have a higher order components called with auth. So we are pass the login information to the login. So you go into the login view. I could read the pop. If this is logged in, then just set it's logged in. It means this started the position. Then refer to the page. So the location is what you passed in. And if it not, then you say login failed authentication. Then set the login fail. And you actually could create other components. For at the moment, I just write something over there. This suppose is have a loading speed. You start login, have a spinner. And if you are start login, just have a spinner. If you has login fail, maybe you have a custom page, so authentication. Then authenticator fail to refresh to start it. And otherwise, you just it also the loading speed. And if your authentication is true, then you redirect where you from. This is why I need you put in the property location state. That is in the private route. So you put in the location state from we are put in the location, and then you from the property state. So in here in the login view, you could get it. So going to the refer state, actually it is the property location dot state. So if you pass the authentication, then send you to over there. Code is done, just let's test it. Okay, I'm going to missing something on the private route. Input React. And missing the rest. Private root. I have the split children are not allowed. When then have the lot. In here. Okay. If I don't do this one, then a lot. I need all this. Didn't close. And this supposed to close. And this is permission denied, doesn't contain permission denied. So I'm going to permission denied into the permission denied. Maybe I need a distracted. Yeah. So now it is working. Now it is working. Just let's see the change. So by default, the home page is fine. But if you go into admin, suppose redirect to the do the routing. So you go in here, it won't go into make an API call. But if you go into the admin, did you see? Just see have a 5 milliseconds delay. You see go into the admin, and even this file has still let you go into the admin. We let this a little bit longer. In the login. This only 5. How about just put 5 seconds? So in real life, you expect quickly. So also I don't let this to catch it. So this because log in view. Then console log is logged in. Okay, if I go back to permission, I go back to the authentication. Actually, I don't have this API, you see. So I'll also let you do it. So for example, if I don't let you do it, so if you have an error, just throw error. Do nothing. See what you do. And I'm going to clear it. Then you're going to the login, and the login page won't make an API call. So the XHI we are going to make an API call. So if we are going to the admin, it will redirect me to the login. So you go into the login, going to authenticate the user, but actually you failed. Did you see? Because you don't allow them to access. So in my application, it going to failed, but every 5 seconds it's going to you stay here. In my code, are going to authentication you again in 5 seconds, and until I clear it. So in here, so every 5 seconds going to delay. And now, for example, if I spin the up, I don't have the backend. I say, okay, if you come to here, I just assume this is successful and you have a permission is admin. So just clear it. You go into the home page. Now you go into the admin. Just see the URL change. Can I make this big? Yeah, just see the URL change. You will see it go into the loading. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 failed. But in my code, I assume you going to successful. So in here, Even you feel similar, you are successful, you have admin right, then you could access in here. First time you access in this one, then you go into the second page, you won't go into the login again because you already have admin. So that is the code. Also, I create this one, and for the authentication, also create for this card. For example, the card what I'm going to show you, it is in here. If you are in the home page, you have this is open for everybody, but you like for either input. But even in the home page, you for public access, but the partial of the page, did you see? Partial of the page need admin to access. This should protected. Only allow the admin. So even you go into this one, also stop you to see. Also, I'm going to go to the detail page. Also put something over there. Since the detail page has admin right. Okay. And this card it is from this authentication. Since the detail page, so in the detail page, this is supposed to should see both. Just let's go see what it going to see. So in here, I just refresh and I clear anything. And did you see in the home page? This should open for everyone. Did you see what I put in the home page? In the home page, I have something. Don't only allow the admin to see, so the admin cannot see. Well, how about going to the detail? Once you go into the detail, first go into authenticate yourself. So let's so what I'm going to just let's recap it. So we have a app, we have a detail and admin. So for the detail and admin, need admin right could access. And inside the detail view, I have some contents allow the anonymous and the admin to access. Some contents is only allow the admin to access. Saying in the home page, if somebody just come in, didn't log in, can access this kind of context. Anonymous allowed, but some contents only allow the admin to access. Just let's see. So if I go into here, first time I go into the home, this should open for everyone. But if I go into the admin, so go into the admin page, then I come back to the home page. Now, this person is pass authentication, has the admin right, so can see both. But if I click the detail, look like I have a bug. Did you see the detail won't redirect to the detail page? If I hovered, you could see underneath say localhost 3000/details. Then we need to go see what I'm setting the navigation. So go to the navigation. When I click, it actually say go to details. So what did the app say? The app said the path only match the details. For everybody else, stay in the home page. That's why I click the detail will stay in the home page. So I'm going to fix this one. Then simply just go into my navigation. So change details to details. So now if I click details, Since this person is the admin, so he can see all of this one. So that is the job for you. I think this just let's recap everything. So what I did, I just start the application by using create a React app. Then I installed one package. It's called the React Router DOM. And all of the code do the trick. It actually all in here. It is the I build a authentication management via consumer this data to my application, and this the provider, and I build author for my consumer. So everything wrapped inside the author, you see, everything wrapped inside the author, it will have visible is authentication, authenticated token, and permission. Any person wrapped inside the guard need to have a permission allowed over there. Actually, it's redundant. If you see in the home page, if this person is not if I don't have admin, then it only allow the anonymous access. You actually could fix this one, so the admin right suppose could access anything anonymous could access. Change, go here, change, because here stop you to see the anonymous stuff. Suppose you could change the logic to match what you needed. And for this example, is I didn't have a login. So actually, in you log in the view, suppose not the director just get this one. You suppose have somebody have a login username password. Once you started, then you call this authenticator because you passed in here. You could call this authenticator. This authenticator it will call this function called the authenticator. But in my one, I just instead write a view, I just say just delay and just do this function. So this is the callback. It is what you passed in. So if you need to have a login, real login page like a username, password, then you take this one, then send to the this can change, send to the real application like the API. And this also not suggest put in here. You suppose put in authentication service. You have another JS file. First, you will read from the local storage. If you have, just read it out. You don't need to make every time make a request. And I think that's it. So all of the code is in here. I will push into GitHub. So if you have any question, just leave a comment. Thank you for watching.